Everyone says this is no longer a battle fought with Soviet-era weapons. Is it true that Ukraine has run out of everything? What does the future hold for Western-supplied arms? Ukraine's arsenal, inherited from the Soviet era, has now become nothing more than piles of scrap metal on the battlefield, burned to ashes by Russia's advanced technology. In fact, Russia is now focused on destroying Ukraine's factories before they can produce new weapons. Look at Russia's other tactics. Ukrainian logistics trucks rarely reach their destinations because every bridge has been cut off, completely paralyzing their mobility. But there's something even more terrifying. How much land would it take to bury all of Ukraine's armored vehicles that failed in combat? Armored vehicles, self-propelled artillery, all buried not by dirt, but by overwhelming firepower they couldn't match. And behind all of this, Zelensky is increasingly cornered. His greatest hope, NATO, has now become a burden as he struggles to maintain Western support. But the data tells a different story. Let's dive deeper. Day by day, Ukraine's war machine, comprising both Soviet-era legacy equipment and supplies from Western countries, continues to be eroded by the precision and tactical superiority of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. Data released by the Russian Ministry of Defense as of August 19th serves as concrete evidence. Since the beginning of the conflict, Ukraine has lost 665 aircraft, 283 helicopters, and 78,217 unmanned aerial vehicles. On the ground, the losses are equally devastating. 625 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,661 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,587 multiple rocket launch systems, and 28,699 field artillery pieces and mortars have been destroyed. These figures are more than just statistics. They are tombstones marking the downfall of what was once one of the largest military forces in Europe. Each number represents a failure of Kyiv's strategy and that of its Western backers, while also highlighting the effectiveness of Russia's operations. A major question looms over Ukraine. Why has it been so difficult to manage the vast Soviet-era military stockpile it inherited? After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine inherited a significant portion of the Soviet military-industrial complex, including tank production facilities capable of independently manufacturing the T-64. It possessed thousands of main battle tanks, many of them advanced T-80s, as well as strategic bombers, comprehensive air defense systems, fighter jets, and artillery. With such assets, Ukraine should have been a formidable fortress. However, instead of maintaining and modernizing this power for national defense, Kyiv chose a path of blind pragmatism and short-term gain. These vital assets were allowed to dwindle. Most of the tanks and aircraft were scrapped, while many others were exported for financial profit. History records how Su-27 fighter jets were sold to the United States, which ironically is now one of Ukraine's main arms suppliers. T-64 tanks were sold to the Congo, T-72s to South Sudan, and most astonishingly, nearly all of Ukraine's most advanced tank units, the T-80UDs, were sold to Pakistan. Despite these fire sales, when conflict with Russia began, Ukraine theoretically still possessed one of the most complete arsenals on the continent, but the foundation was already crumbling. This depletion was worsened by ignored internal warnings. Ukraine's own Air Force had long warned that its ability to operate Soviet-era air defense systems, such as the S-300 and Buk, was under serious threat due to an inability to upgrade or maintain them. The breaking point came with the leak of classified U.S. Department of Defense documents in April 2023, revealing deep concerns within the Pentagon about the deteriorating condition of Ukraine's surface-to-air missile network due to increasingly severe shortages. The leak was not only an embarrassment for the West, but also confirmed what Russia had long known: Ukraine's air defense was on the brink of collapse. These concerns triggered a rush of NATO allies to send aid, a frantic effort to prop up a faltering Ukraine. As has already been witnessed, Western aid has also proven incapable of changing the situation. In fact, the advanced military equipment sent with great fanfare by the West has met the same fate as its predecessors from the Soviet era, destroyed at the hands of Russian forces. This equipment, often ill-suited for actual combat conditions, has proven to be easy targets. Let's take a look at what Russia has recently destroyed. First, the US Max Pro armored vehicle. This vehicle, touted as mine-resistant, turned out to be vulnerable to Russian drones. In various battle footage, it is clearly seen how Russian UAV operators easily track and destroy moving Max Pro vehicles. Second, the US M113 armored personnel carrier. Near Konstantinovka, UAV crews from Russia's southern battle group eliminated an M113, significantly disrupting Ukrainian troop rotations. In the Kupiansk and Kharkov regions, this aging vehicle also became easy prey for the precise Lancet loitering munitions. Another Western asset so easily destroyed by Russia is the US Humvee. Around Nikolskoye, in the Sumy Oblast, a Humvee was completely destroyed. Recognizing the approaching kamikaze drone, its driver attempted to flee at high speed, maneuvering desperately while other troops fired light weapons at the drone. However, the resistance was in vain. After a brief chase, the Russian drone operator calmly completed the mission. The most embarrassing story for NATO is the fate of their main battle tanks. The German-made Leopard 2, which was touted as a game-changer, instead reflects how Western tanks are ill-suited for real combat conditions. Ukraine received around 80 Leopard 2 tanks, but according to open sources, at least 38 of them have been reduced to scrap. They were powerless against Vickers missiles from Ka-52 helicopters, Kornet anti-tank missiles, as well as the suicide UAV Lancet and Agile FPV drones. Several units that were not completely destroyed were even captured by Russian forces as war trophies. This fate also befell the mighty American-made M1 Abrams, now displayed in Moscow as a symbol of conquered Western arrogance. These tanks, which were supposed to be the spearhead of Ukraine's counteroffensive, have now become a public spectacle, a clear proof of the total failure of Western military technology in facing the resilience and cunning of the Russian military. The reality on the ground proves that neither the wasted Soviet legacy nor the much-hyped Western aid could save Ukraine from Russia's precision strikes. Every day, Kiev's list of losses grows longer, and every piece of destroyed equipment is a reminder that true strength does not lie in the number of weapons, but in strategy, resilience, and the will to win, something Russia clearly possesses. So, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.